Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to today's opinions video. We're going to do an opinion. It's a requested opinion. This is OTC saying, can you do me a favor? Can we do an opinions video on the ending of SmackDown, please? And I thought this was a good suggestion because obviously there's no show tonight for us to do reviews on or opinions on. So we've got a window, we've got an opportunity. And this is a really big talking point. We're talking about Roman trying to get through to the wise man, not being able to get through. And obviously people have come out and said, oh, the reason why is because Heyman has had his phone broken and Roman doesn't have the new number, right? And that's obviously interesting. But for me, that doesn't really explain things because why has Paul Heyman not given Roman his new number? He is his wise man. Roman can't get a hold of him without that new number. Why hasn't he given him his new number? It suggests that Paul Heyman does not want to be contacted. Now, it could be something as simple as Paul Heyman just does not want to get involved with the Tongans. You know, now that we've got Tonga Loa, he doesn't want to get involved in that. He said to Solo, there was a reason why we never brought these people in. Like, we did everything with honor. We did everything we had to do for business. It was never personal. It was about keeping the championship, right? It was about keeping Roman on top. But that's not what the Tongans are about. That's not what Tonga Loa are about. Everything for them is about brutality. It's not about business. And maybe Paul just doesn't want to get mixed up in that. So he doesn't want to be around that. So he doesn't want to be contactable. That could be kind of a reason. Another reason, of course, could be that he's got a new client. And I really like that idea. That's the one that excites me the most. The one that excites me the least is that he's got a new phone and Roman just doesn't have the number. And eventually they get a hold of him and he just comes back and that was it. Like, that to me is quite underwhelming. So I'm hoping it's not that. I'm hoping that it's something a bit more juicy like we've just discussed. So yeah, this is obviously interesting. Like, is Heyman moving on? Is it just that it was the wrong number? Could it be something else? So wanting to know what you lot think and where you lot think this is going to. I'm hoping it sets up something quite big. And I am reminded by Paul Heyman that said that when he returns, he wants it to be big and impactful and significant. And he wants it to set up another like 12 months worth of stories. Be a real great way of that happening if, like, he comes back and he's now the manager of Obafemi or something like this, you know? And then that starts up, like, whole new stories, whole new feuds. That could be really interesting. So we're going to have to wait and see, obviously, but they're clearly teasing something, and it's going to be very interesting where it leads. But let's have a look and see what you lot think, shall we? We've had 24 responses, which is brilliant considering it's early on a Sunday. So Faddy said, I think Heyman is rightfully mad that Roman left him to die beside Solo and didn't help him when he got beat up. He never calls Paul except if he needs him, but I think they will reunite. I think that's a really good comment. Sinister Files said, okay, here's my take. So first off, the look of Roman's dejection and quite literally hurt was pure gold. It was built with feelings, emotion, confusion, and maybe even the possible realization that all of the things he's done to the people who have been there for him since the beginning, especially his wise man, Paul Heyman. Drop in the phone, the look of a lost soul, it was pure cinema. As for the speculation about this being Sami's phone, there's too many logic gaps for that to be the case. Lock screens, voice recognition, recognizing your own phone. These are all points of evidence that this was indeed Roman's phone. And the wise man wants nothing to do with this situation after being put through that table by Solo. It all pays into a richer, greater story that we're all here to see. I love that. That's a brilliant comment. I think that's great. Angie said, I don't know if Paul will turn on Roman. The entire time that he was advertising Solo, or advising Solo, sorry, he was loyal to Roman as well. Still in the role of looking at Solo as a temporary stand-in until Roman came back. This, of course, backfired, and Solo turned against him. I can't wait to see what will happen. All of that is true, but the moment that Solo turns against him and he gets beaten up, like physically attacked, and no one was there to help him, like that attack happened, and he was on his own, like, did that change the way that Heyman felt? Lex F1 said, Daze, hope you're doing good, mate. Same to you, buds. I think that Paul changed his phone after his phone got broken, and he will turn up at Survivor Series to support the OG bloodline. There is no way they don't put the five together, at least for a short time. It might turn out, though, that he's actually with The Rock. Oof. Wrestling fan since day one said, what do you think of this? I think Heyman might have changed his number and is looking to distance himself from the bloodline. Maybe he's lost faith in the tribal chief and wants to explore new opportunities. I wouldn't be surprised if Heyman has lost faith in the bloodline. Changing his number could symbolize a fresh start away from tribal chief drama. Missy said, I don't know. On Heyman's official page, he posted 3 days ago a picture of Jay, Sami, Roman, and Jimmy with wands in the air. And he posted other pro-OG bloodline material too, says Missy. Is it pro-OG bloodline stuff? Or is it just showing that he is aware of what is happening? So, like, is it a case that he is showing that he's aware of what is happening whilst he's away? But that actually then means the fact that he is not answering the phone. That makes it even more significant, because it's not as if he's at home and he's just not even watching the product, right? If his social media is putting out that he is aware of bloodline stuff, then why didn't he answer the phone? Why didn't he get in touch with Rome? Does that not condemn it even more? Like, doesn't that hammer it home even more that this is significant, that this is interesting, that he didn't get in touch with Roman? Like, he knows he's back. So, interesting. Averted Vision said Heyman has already said he will return when he is to help spearhead the next 12 months of storylines. I'm assuming he will interrupt the match at Survivor Series with Brock or possibly Zilla. Johnny said probably Heyman blocked Roman. He got back like 3 months ago at SummerSlam, and now he is only trying to call the wise man. Paul deserves better. I hope he finds someone that appreciates his efforts. Drew said, my opinion, you remember when Heyman begged CM Punk to take him with him away from the Temu bloodline? My theory is, we all know Punk is a Heyman guy, and I think with Punk rumoured to be returning at Survivor Series, Seth will join Roman, but Heyman and Punk help Roman, but Punk hits a GTS on Seth. Robbie said it's cinema. I know that Solo broke the phone, but that theory is silly. I think that it's because Roman wasn't there for Heyman when he needed him. So now Heyman is doing the same thing to Roman. Whether it means he's left him or not, I'm still unsure, says Robbie. Geekbox said, I think it's a surprise for the show. I'm impressed, though, that it carried on after Solo broke his phone. Mary said, I've got a bad feeling that Paul Heyman may have moved on to Bron Breakker or switched to The Rock or CM Punk. Sami seems to be acting like he may not be behind Roman. He seemed to be sneaking what it appeared to be a phone. Hang on. Let me reread this. So, I have a bad feeling Paul Heyman may have moved on to Bron Breakker or has switched to The Rock or CM Punk. Sami seems to be acting like he might not be behind Roman. He seemed to be sneaking what appeared like a phone. Yeah, I've spoken quite a bit about that Sami thing, and I don't really see how it connects. I don't really see how Sami doing this, like, I don't really get how that connects with Roman. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like, well, we can move on here because GTS is talking about it. I think it's got something to do with Sami as he took a phone out of his left pocket into his right hand, threw it on the sofa. Roman didn't ask about him till now when he needs him. I think there's more that meets the eye. Maybe he will show, but turn and show card for something bigger. Yeah, I don't really know how the Sami thing fits in, is my honest answer to this. It's interesting, and it's definitely like something for us to chuck around. I feel like we're going to need a little bit more than what we've had so far, because it could also be true that Sami was empty in his pockets because they were about to go to the ring, because they saw that the new bloodline were making their way to the ring, and so Sami was getting his pockets empty, getting ready to go, you know? Or it could be that he felt it vibrating in his pocket, and he was like getting it out of his pocket because it was just a natural, like, oh my God, not now, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I forgot to take my phone out of my pocket for this segment. Just chuck it over there for now. I mean, it really could have been something like that as well, couldn't it? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready to leap into that this was like an Easter egg and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting. It's great that it's been noticed, and it's great we can have this conversation about it, but that is my honest reaction to that. Matt said, I thought Heyman was going to turn on Roman. Then he went through the table at Madison Square Garden. Then I thought that Heyman was getting a babyface run. Then I see Heyman has seemingly disconnected his phone. Then the footage of Sami throwing the phone in the lounge. Now I don't know anything. Jang Tae Sang said, I've a very strong feeling that Paul has aligned himself with the final boss. Next week can't come soon enough. Joe said he used Sami's phone, but not his own, which I struggle with because of the point made earlier. I mean, if he used Sami's phone, how would you not know? I mean, it would have to be the same phone, same case, same screen image, same apps, same numbers, same, like, you know, the name of Paul would have to be the same. Some people might call him Paul, some people might call him Mr. Heyman, some people might call him Wise Man, some people might call him Wise Man Paul Heyman, some people might call him Paul Wise Man Heyman. Like, there's so much stuff that would have to be the same. Plus also the lock screen. If that's Sami's phone, how did Roman open it? How did he get access to it? So I struggle with that one, to be honest, for all of those reasons. Howdy LFC said the most probable is that Solo crushing Heyman's phone, which is why it wasn't in service when Roman called. But another possibility is Heyman still has the final boss phone. Roman didn't reach out to Paul or communicate anything to him while he was gone, leaving him alone and him eventually getting destroyed by Solo, which could lead to Heyman becoming the Rock's wise man and turning on Roman. Those are the only two possibilities that I can think of that are the most likely to happen, says Howdy. OTC said, I think it's just a storyline because they won't have Solo just breaking Paul's phone for no reason. There has to be a reason that Solo broke Paul's phone. I really don't know what the flip is happening. Thank you for posting this. It means a lot that you listened to me. OTC, shout out to you. Brendan said, Bloodline. Jay Beans said maybe Sami took Roman's phone earlier somehow for something, sneakily returned it on the couch. So you're thinking that that might have been Roman's phone that Sami had. He did something and then he chucked it on the couch. I think that would have been, I mean, maybe, I don't know what he would have done, right? But it would have been nice if we had seen Paul pick it up from that same point. Roman pick it up from the same place that Sami dropped it. That would have been a nice touch if that is what's happened. The other thing, I mean, I feel like this is, I can work with this. Sami having Roman's phone is possible. I don't know how Sami would know his passcodes, but, you know, it's possible. What he would have done on the phone, I'm not sure. There's not really anything he needs to have done on the phone. And then he drops it onto the couch. And it would have been nice to have seen Roman pick it up from there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with that. But that feels more logical, at least, than Roman having Sami's phone. Miss Clown said the new bloodline have done something to Heyman. That's why his number is disconnected. King Yeet said Roman Reigns must try calling Heyman's second phone, the one with The Rock, because Solo stomped on the one with Roman's pouch. Penfold King said Solo destroyed his phone, remember? Yeah, I remember, but it sucks. Like, are we just saying that the only reason he can't get through is because the phone got destroyed? I mean, you have to go a step further than that, really, in the sense of, well, why doesn't... I mean, Paul must have a phone, so why does Roman not have that new phone number? Like, that's the next step, isn't it? It's like, okay, you can't get through on that because the phone was destroyed, but why did the wise man not give him his new phone number? Like, that is significant. If it just turns out that Heyman has got a new phone number and he just forgot, and then he comes, like, that's just a really bad story. Like, that's just not fun. That's not entertaining. That's just dull. So, like, it's got to go to that next step, hasn't it? Like, I said this in the Unseen, didn't I? That, like, for me, you're really teasing something big here. You know, the way that Roman looked because he couldn't get through and he was all dejected and he's, like, looking at the phone and you can see the cogs going around in his head. If it just turns out that Heyman's got a new number and he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I hadn't given it. I thought I'd text it to everybody and it just turns out to be something like that. Like, that's going to be so lame. It's got to be something better than that. Lexi said, seeing Roman dropping his phone, seeing Roman dropping his or Sami's phone, it reminds me of Solo breaking Paul's tribal chief phone, but not the Rock's. Right, there we go. We're done anyway. So it seems like there's a few interesting theories in there, and we're going to have to wait and see. I really feel like that they are setting up something bigger. I really feel like you wouldn't do this for it to just have such a small payoff. That's why I really don't like that theory of, oh, don't you remember he destroyed his phone and he's just got a different phone? Like, I really hate that. Like, I really hate it because, like, we're teasing something big here. And why didn't he give him his new number then? Because he's his wise man. He loves him. He'd do anything for him. Like, clearly that's not quite right if he hasn't given him his new number. So I feel like he might have moved on to someone else. I feel like there's hurt feelings. At the very least, he's upset with Roman, I would say. At the very least, he's upset. Beyond that, he may have actually moved on to someone else that he thinks will always be there for him. You know, perhaps the reason he loved Roman was because Roman always kept him safe. And that's just not been proven to be true. And maybe that really did change his perspective. Gonna have to wait and see, aren't we? So there we go. Thank you for your feedback. Really do appreciate it. And obviously, we'll keep an eye on this situation. We are, of course, going to be back with our Raw stream and our Raw review and opinions. And I really am looking forward to seeing what they've got for us. I know it's a tape show, but I'm sure they're going to have some sort of surprise in there as well. Normally, there's some backstage segments at least. You know, Wyatt 6, for example. Actually don't know what the Wyatt 6 are doing on Raw. Don't want to know. So that is something that's not been spoiled, actually. There's two things I'm aware of with Raw. I'm not going to say them. One of them is not the Wyatt 6, though. So there should still be reasons to tune in this week. So let's have a look, shall we? Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support. See you again next time. Bye for now.